Hi there, John Wilkinson and History Made Easier. The Paris Peace Treaties topic is more than the Treaty of Versailles. I'm sure you are fully aware of that. There are another 4 treaties to consider. And that can seem a burden when you're revising for your exams. A lot of knowledge, a lot of content to memorize and take into that exam hall with you. But one of the ways in which we can lighten that burden is to bear in mind that all those treaties, including the Treaty of Versailles, carried common characteristics. They were all diktats. None of the defeated powers were invited to the talks. They were all premised with a guilt clause. They all involved a loss of territory for the defeated powers. They all involved reparations. They all involved a reduction in the military capability of the defeated powers. And all those defeated powers were obliged to accept the League of Nations, though were not invited to join the League, at least at the beginning. And so if you think of those common characteristics, then I think it's going to be easier for you to just add a little bit of detail to them. And one of the things that I think you should also consider is just how badly those other powers were treated. Worse than Germany was treated. If we take Austria, for example, and I've got some details down here, let me share them with you. The population of Austria was reduced to just 6 million people. 2/5 of German Austrians were under foreign rule. Austria lost all access to the sea. Its economy was in tatters. Indeed, it never paid reparations. And the League of Nations had to come up with an economic recovery plan to help Austria survive. And so Austria, I think, was in a worse state than Germany after those treaties. Similarly, with Hungary, if you look at Hungary, it lost 70% of its territory if we divide the Austro-Hungarian Empire into what was mostly under Hungarian influence. 70%. 2/3 of its population, down to just 7.5 million people. And when I talk about the reduction in populations, that will affect a country's economy. The people it loses were workers, taxpayers, consumers. They're all vital to an economy. It lost all access to the sea as well. And it never paid reparations, except a bit of coal was delivered. And so I think Austria and Hungary were both treated pretty badly, worse, I would say, than Germany was treated. Not to say that Germany didn't have its own cause for complaint. And I think this information is also useful to bear in mind if you're answering that kind of question that is looking at the German response to the Treaty of Versailles and whether the German reaction was justified or not. It's worth thinking about if you're looking at a question that asks you whether the treaties or the Treaty of Versailles in particular was fair or not. Just a sentence or two that refers to what was happening or what happened to both Austria and Hungary will help put that in perspective, and it will make your answer a whole lot stronger. But just one thing before I close this video, something else to consider with those other treaties. So harsh, so unfair did the Treaty of Sèvres dealing with Turkey seem to the Turks that they forced a revision of the treaties, of their treaty, the only revision of the treaties, the Treaty of Lausanne. So again, I think that can maybe help put the German Treaty of Versailles into perspective. So don't be burdened by the other treaties, and do use the other treaties when making a judgment on the Treaty of Versailles, if that is a question that you face in your exam. So I hope that was useful for you. I hope it gives you something to think about. As always, I thank you for listening, and as always, I ask you to check out my History Made Easier website. But for now, cheers.